Vancouver, Canada. It is one of the most livable cities in the world and home of more than 620,000 residents. Vancouver is the third largest city in Canada, located at the southern tip of British Columbia. The city acts as Canada's gateway to the Asia-Pacific region. Vancouver played the host of Expo 86 as well as the 2010 Winter Olympic Games. The city has shown tremendous efforts in terms of sustainable design. Most facilities used in these international events are reconfigured into public spaces loved by local residents. Structures such as BC Place and the Science World are now recognized as Vancouver's landmark buildings. The finest placemaking projects in Vancouver lies here on this tiny peninsula known as Granville Island. In the early 20th century, the increasing growth of the Port of Vancouver made the authority to approve a land reclamation project in the Falls Creek for an industrial zone. The reclamation, which costed $342,000, resulted in the creation of an artificial island under the Granville Street Bridge. BC Equipment Limited was the first tenant on Granville Island. The company focused on repairing and assembling heavy machineries for mining and forestry. By 1923, every lot on the island was occupied by similar factories that produced industrial goods. However, the Great Depression in the 1930s changed the fate of the island. Factories were shut down, and shantytowns began to appear on Granville Island. The outbreak of the Second World War temporarily revived the industries on the island, as many of them produced military equipment for the European front. The post-war period saw another decrease in industrial activities on the island. In 1972, the federal government assigned the management of Granville Island to Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, who strived to turn the industrial wasteland into a thriving public space through placemaking projects. The designers and architects of this project have analyzed every structure on the island in order to understand the potential types of usage. Today, Granville Island is known as one of Vancouver's top tourist attractions. It is a people-focused community dedicated to both public and private use. The original structures of BC Equipment Limited were converted into Granville Island Public Market in 1979. The market provided organic farmers' products and fresh seafood to the residents in the neighborhood. The Emily Carroll University of Art and Design was added to the island in 1980. It is currently one of the top art institutions in Canada. Although some industries remained on the island, most of the industrial structures are converted into restaurants, markets, hotels, and breweries. Small businesses are thriving on the island. Businesses such as glass workshops, broomstick makers, and children's market have added unique characteristics to the island. The waterfront area surrounding the public market have been reconfigured into a public gathering space that overlooks downtown Vancouver. Granville Island is a pedestrian and bicycle-friendly community that promotes green transportation. The island is also connected by ferries from other recreational parks around the Falls Creek. Despite the enormous transformation, the legacy of Granville Island remained on this tiny peninsula. Majority of the historical structures are preserved. The original railways are kept in the center of the street to constantly remind people about the transformation of an industrial wasteland into a healthy community. Organizations such as the Project for Public Spaces have put Granville Island as one of the best case studies for placemaking project.